Hi, new coaches. This is Christian Appleman here with your GBL points of emphasis here for this whiteboard segment. Just a couple things for you to keep in mind as you start with your new GBL season. Again, welcome to the league. I'm sure you'll do a great job. If you have any questions about anything, you can either contact Coach Cousins, myself, send us an email, give us some feedback on the videos. All these things are really meant for for your benefit, to help you have a great season. But if anything is not clear, or we didn't explain something very well, or you need an answer to a question, don't ever hesitate to email or call. The first point of emphasis is organization. And by organization, what we mean is not to be kind of a micromanager of your team, but really try to do things that you would really do in your job. In other words, be on time, put forth your best effort whenever you're there, be enthusiastic. All those things, especially with related to sports and related to basketball, these will be the highlight. This will be the highlight maybe of your players' week, is coming to practice and coming to games and playing basketball, which a lot of these kids really love to do. All those things that you think about when you're putting in your practice plan and trying to do all those things to make it work are really, really important. And don't ever undervalue the importance of being on time and being organized with all that you do when you're involved in the league. With time, planning your practice, having it written down on a piece of paper, going through it, sticking to the time. If you're going to do something for 10 minutes, do it for 10 minutes. And if it goes a little bit longer, then you have to adjust, and then maybe you're not going to be able to cover something else. You're only going to have kids there for about 50 minutes tops. By the time you get everybody there and get everybody organized and the other team starts coming in, the attention span, and you're taking breaks, you don't really have your players on the court for very long. So whatever you're doing, you have to do it very systematic, and you have to really keep it moving. Because remember, if you take a 3 or 4 minute break in between your drills, if you have 4 drills and you're taking 3-minute breaks in between, that's 12 minutes or 16 minutes maybe that you're not engaged with your players, and they're not getting enough ball touches, and they're not active in what they're doing. By keeping it just a little more organized and by keeping things moving in practice, it just makes it that much more fun and that much more organized, and your players will like that better actually too. They like organization. They want to be told what to do. They want to be directed about where to go and how to get better. So all these things are important. Again, movement. Move your drills. Move from place to place. Get out there on the court. Be dynamic with your players. Help them out. Help show them how to pass. If they're not doing something correctly, you can address it real quickly, but then move on and do something else. We're going to talk about this at the end. Equal time for all. You don't have to worry about maybe the better players on your team doing things the right way, but on the other hand, don't spend so much time with your better players that the kids who've never played before don't get any attention. That's not right. Everybody gets the same amount of attention, no matter if they're really good, they've never played before, they're kind of average, they're in between, whatever the case may be. The part-whole method in your coaching and in your practice plan, and how you kind of devise your drills, you want to have some individual work where you're just doing some individual ball handling. Where you're doing ball handling, left hand, right hand. Maybe do some king ball drills where you're doing things around your head and around your back and around your legs. We have videos for all those things too. But the part-whole method with regard to individual work, that's where the players actually get touches. When they can touch the ball, with their dribbling, passing, of course, they need a teammate, but shooting against the wall, especially for 3rd, 4th graders, if they can shoot against the wall and work on their technique time after time after time, that means they're not waiting in line. They're not waiting for someone else to go. You might be in a gym where you only have one basket. One basket's not going to cut it if you want to have your players all improve with their shooting. Do wall shooting, which we have a video on as well. Guards and bigs. If you're in 7th and 8th grade, if you're a 7th and 8th grade coach, you may want to break down your guards, your perimeter players, and your big players, so that with your guards, you may have them do some ball handling. With your big kids, you may want to have them work on some post moves. It really depends on the dynamic of your team and who all is part of your team, and whether you even have big kids or guards or somewhere in between. Third and fourth graders, they're going to be all guards, more or less. You know, you might have one big kid where you can work with some, you know, work with a girl or a boy when their post moves and that sort of thing in close to the basket, because they're not going to be outside handling the ball a lot. But keep this in mind. This may not apply to everybody, but if you want to get your bigs involved, especially if you have an assistant coach, which is great. If you have an assistant that can work with the bigs and you work with the guards or vice versa, you can do some things like post moves, you know, feed the post, work on some moves, work on your drop step, work on power moves, work on faking, maybe work on outlet passes, post defense, things like that, where you can, especially with the older kids, you can add some things to their repertoire of what they've already been exposed to. You can even ask some of their previous coaches, or maybe you can ask them even what they've learned so far. You know, do you want to do anything new? You want to work on your post moves? But even rather than ask them any questions, just do it. Just throw it out there and just expose them to it. And we'll also have videos for those things as well. The individual and team concepts then are combined as part of your practice. So you have your individual work, which you can start out with at the beginning. Then you have individual and team concepts combined as more of the emphasis on the team. So if you're working on your offense, you're working on some motion. Now you have the whole 5 players involved. So you're working on your passing and your ball handling, where you can penetrate and pitch, do things like that, especially for the older kids if you want to do that. Again, some of the things we talk about are not going to apply to the 3rd and 4th graders, but then again, the 3rd and 4th graders may be a little more, you know, not quite as advanced as 7th and 8th graders. So again, with your team, you kind of have to decide, you know, what is appropriate and what is not. Equal time for all, though, is one thing that you want to make sure that everybody has the same amount of opportunity, the same amount of time to do the shooting, the passing, the defense, and make sure as a coach that you're going around to every kid, you know their name, for sure, within the first 5 minutes or 10 minutes of your first practice. You know their name, you know basically what they can do, how often they've played, if they're new to the game or not, and then you can cater your practices to basically the talent level that you have, which is perfectly fine. You might have to do some more basic passing with kids who've never played before. That's quite all right. If you have a more advanced team with 7th and 8th graders, you may want to deal with a little more motion, maybe some more team concepts versus individual, because they've done a lot of individual stuff before. Not that you want to ignore it, but you can kind of say, okay, king drill, and they'll know exactly what to do. You know, take it around your head, take it around your back, without much explanation, and they can go through things a lot quicker, which is also beneficial for you as a coach. But all these things that we talk about, refer back, even as the season goes on, refer back to the videos. We'll try to keep you updated with more videos about practices and practice plans and how to go about things. But this should give you a pretty good foundation, and hope you have a great year.